The day before we had done some preparation. We'd filled, my husband and my son had gone out and filled the wheelie bins up with water and placed them at either end of the house. Got the usual mops and buckets out and filled the gutters with water and that sort of thing. So we had a bit of preparation. When I came back to the house and I explained the situation to my husband, and he said, we'll get the firefighting pump out, get it all prepared. And I said, I really think we need to go this time. And he agreed, and so we started packing, the animals into the car. So I went in one car and with the dogs, and my husband and son went in the other car with one dog and about 8 chooks. It was when I was on the main road to get to the highway that I actually saw the fire coming across the grass and through the treetops to my right, and it just travelled with speed that I would never have expected. It crossed over the road in front of me, and at that point I decided I'm not driving through that. I don't know what's on the other side. So I turned around to come back home thinking I shouldn't be on the road. They always say don't be on the road, and what am I doing here? Tried to get back home, but again, that road to get back to the property was by that stage cut off by fire, and that was literally only minutes, would be 3 or 4 minutes at the most that it had taken hold that quickly. And so I thought, okay, get to an open space. So there's a big paddock in the middle of our main town, and that's what I headed for. And at that time, my son actually rang me on the mobile phone and said, where are you? Because we'd lost sight of each other. At this point, the wind was, really strong, and it was getting very, very dark very quickly. So I said to my son, I'm heading for the paddock, and he said to me, what side are you on? I said, I'm on the pub side of the paddock. And he said, well, we're on the bakery side, let's meet in the middle. And that's what we did, and we parked on the paddock until the main fire front went through. There was the service station and the old general store. We're not too far from us, probably about 200 to 300 feet from us, and the fire started taking hold of the store, and that was really quite frightening, thinking this whole thing's going to explode and take us with it. When we learnt about ember attack and those sorts of things, you picture embers and they tell you that embers will be, about the size of a 50-cent piece, but these were chunks of branches and, huge things on fire and just whirling around in this wind, and the noise of the wind was just phenomenal, and nothing that I would ever have pictured. You always hear that you will hear this wind and there'll be the heat and all this sort of thing, but until you're actually in it, you can't understand how loud it actually is, and the whole car just shook. It was just this massive cyclone almost. I guess it had its own weather going with the fire front. You never expect that kind of thing to happen to you, and certainly not to ever think, I may not get through this, that, this might be it. I really believe you do need to leave the day before. If there were fire predictions like that this coming fire season and people's plan was to leave, then you need to leave the day before, because even the morning of a day that like we had in February 7, it's just not worth the chance of leaving that morning, because it's just so easily, that you get caught out, that you think you've got time, and you just can't predict how fast that fire is going to travel.